You can tell Chet or whoever that would be, that's where I want it every day. The Facebook. Welcome to the show, everyone. I love talking about everybody else but me on my show. We are live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. My first guest is a newbie, and I absolutely love having my newbies on. I have with me George Sod. He is the founding attorney of PLATZ Juris, and I welcome you to the show. I want you to tell everybody first a little bit about yourself, because you've got a little bit of an interesting background and how you got to where you are today.
Thank you, Carol. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. I am a newbie to radio, and I'm really excited for this show. I'll tell you a bit about myself. I'm the unconventional attorney. I did not follow the traditional path to law. Actually, I spent over 20 years of my career in K-12 international education, college prep schooling. We worked in 20-some countries around the world. I lived in Minnesota at the time, where our head office was, and in that process, I was exposed to so many cultures around the world, so many ethnicities, backgrounds, ideas, curiosities, innovations, and our company that managed these schools also produced everything for its schools: curriculum, technology, software, even teaching methodology. So for over 20 years, reaching to the helm of that organization, I was running the operations for the organization. For the last 7 or so years of my career with that company, I learned that protection of innovation is so paramount to every single business. And when I decided to pivot in my career, I decided that law was going to be it for me. It had always been that bug in my head for the longest time, and I decided to finally do it, and I did it. And intellectual property, the protection of ideas and innovation and human ingenuity was what interested me most. So that's what brought me to this field, and I'm so excited to venture and to help people protect what's great about their ideas and innovations.
So let's talk about what makes your firm different.
One thing that I know is different is that unlike, and lawyers are, we have excellent lawyers in the Valley and all over the country. Lawyers are great at advising and advocating. Seldom do you find lawyers who've actually run businesses for so long. I did. So when I talk to business clients, I'm not just talking as an advisor, I'm also talking as someone who's been in their shoes, who's done it, who ran businesses, who understands risk, who understands the ups and downs, the cycles, who has a very, very intimate knowledge of how a business works. And then I add to that the legal expertise and know-how. So I think I would say that is what makes my approach unique.
So before you came on, we were talking a little bit about you, and you say that you work nationwide, you do complimentary consultations, you're also rated with the Better Business Bureau, and earlier you say you're an unconventional attorney, but what makes him different besides your how you were brought up and the schooling that you went through, wow, but that you're an advisor, but who has walked in their shoes. And that's really important. Why is it so important for a business owner, to have an attorney, or at least, have one on call,
Mm-hmm.
like you, and, because what could go wrong, right?
I wish nothing could go wrong, but one of the most, I would say, underappreciated areas of law for a business is intellectual property. Think of intellectual property as your real estate. Every business whether the business owner is aware of it or not, is sitting on very valuable real estate. And that real estate could be their brand, it could be their trade secrets, and by trade secrets I mean it could be anything from, you know, the mythical Coca-Cola recipe, or it could be your client list, your Rolodex, your phone book, that only you have access to, and that you've worked years with effort and sweat to build this client base. If you don't protect that confidentiality, then the first employee that leaves that door leaves with so much wealth that you were not aware was unprotected. So that is one little example. And then you have innovations. A lot of businesses have created great new innovations that are worth protecting. Many businesses go on creating all these methods and processes and systems and even technologies without ever thinking of protecting them. And without protection, they have no value to the business. So why is it important? Because you need to assign value to those very important assets that your business owns, but sometimes you're not aware you actually own.
His phone number is 480-570-8558. The website is PLATZ, and that's PLATZ. Juris is JURIS.com. I want you to tell everybody because I had to ask. Thank God we got, craziness here. Juris, what does that mean? Because I thought that was, I know everybody else out there is thinking the same as me, that was the other attorney involved.
Right.
No, wrong. What does that mean?
So, again, going back to being an unconventional lawyer, many law firms use the attorney's last names. I did not want to make it about me. I wanted to make it about what I offer my clients, and that is legal services. So I tried to use a spin on words like juris, a Latin word to mean the law, and platz, more of a Germanic word to mean place, to call it the place for law.
That's awesome. But somebody who's had your schooling would think about that. Now, I want to ask real quickly, because I know we only have a couple of minutes. You always talk about being a business-first lawyer, you say.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means I, as a prior business operator, not just a lawyer, I can put myself in the business owner's shoes to think first about their business and then what legal protections or support will be applicable to their business. It's not a one-glove-fits-all, and because I bring that business acumen and business understanding and background to the table, I can truly say that I can put myself in your shoes as a business owner in helping you understand your legal options.
So we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk further. I think the most important thing is I'm going to ask you this when we get back. So about when to call,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a lot of people who've been in business for a long time that may have never even thought about what the things that they should protect.
Right.
Because maybe they don't even realize, like you said, what is worth protecting. So the best thing to do is, first of all, maybe it's you, maybe it's someone that you know, tell them about this. It's 480-570-8558. He works nationwide. He does complimentary consultations. He's rated with a Better Business Bureau. He calls himself the unconventional attorney. He does advise you, but he's also been in your shoes. He's walked in your shoes, so you can get, the number is 480-570-8558. It's PLATZ, PLATZ, Juris, JURIS.com. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute. So we're going to keep on going in here because we're live,
Yes.
and hope you like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun.
So, I want to ask you that question as to when the best time,
To call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking, for you and for everybody else out there right now, There's people who are just starting,
Yeah.
and they say, I don't need that. Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
When is the best time to call?
Actually, that's a great point you raise, because many people fail to call when they are just starting, only to start on the wrong footing. And that is one of the biggest mistakes or missteps many startup owners make. It is never too early to call. And if the answer is you don't need me at this stage, fine. At least you've checked off that box.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be too late to call if you wait too long.
Right, you had mentioned that.
Yeah, so always call. When you get a free consultation, it's a no-risk call.
Mm-hmm.
Call, ask your questions, make sure the attorney understands what your needs are, and take it from there.
So a lot of people call when they just think something has happened. Correct?
Yes.
Like something happened, what do I do?
Yeah.
I might need an attorney, or I need an attorney.
Yeah.
And that's when they would call. Do they call someone like you?
Yeah, they can call someone like me. Think of it as going to your primary care doctor. You could call them when you start feeling things, or you could go to them once a year for your annual physical to make sure nothing is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Same case here, be proactive. But if you do find yourself in a bind, you have a problem, whether it's IP or contract breach or any other issue relating to a business, make a phone call. Most attorneys offer an initial free consultation because they want to understand if they are in a position to help you.
Right.
And it's unfair to charge you only for them to understand what your issue is. So we offer free consultations.
So the other thing that comes to mind is a lot of people who think they're going to have to hire an attorney,
Yeah.
even if it's somebody who is, like you said, what were the words? What was it called? Somebody who is on call but not necessarily full time,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, fractional.
Fractional.
Yeah.
So but the thing is that fractional, they think that it's going to have to be a large business.
Mm.
Do you work with any size business?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
We work with small businesses, large businesses.
So welcome back, everyone. We've been sitting here talking to everybody at Facebook Land, and I love doing that. And here's the thing: a lot of business owners are out there listening right now, and one of the things that I always have to do is think for everybody else, and all these questions come to mind. And so I start writing things down really quickly, and one of them was a lot of people who, when they're hearing something like this, might think, well, first of all, I don't need an attorney until something goes wrong.
Right. And that is the reactive way to go about it. We talked earlier on break about you can go to the doctor when things start aching, or you can go annually to make sure nothing is wrong. This is being proactive. So call when you are starting a business. Call when you want to see that you do not have potential problems. And with a free consultation, it's a risk-free call.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll usually get honest advice. You'll get a lot of questions asked of you, so we as attorneys can understand how we can be in a position to help you. And then you can take it from there.
Another thing that I asked you was about the size business.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about startups, I mean, there's people who are as small as like me,
Yeah.
but then there's people who are big. And when you think about attorneys, you never know though, folks, when it can happen.
Yeah.
What size businesses do you work with?
We work with anywhere from a one-person business to a large corporation. And they can afford us differently. Large corporations usually would hire us when they have litigation issues. They may have their own in-house attorney, but when it comes to litigation, they outsource the work to us. Smaller businesses hire us on what we call a fractional general counsel basis. They're too small to afford to have their in-house attorney, but they need someone to become their go-to attorney. So they hire us, we become their fractional, think of it as their part-time in-house counsel, even though we're independent. And then they have the freedom to keep sending us work, knowing that we will give it the priority that it deserves every time they send it to us.
The phone number to call is 480-570-8558. PLATZ, P-L-A-T-Z, Juris, JURIS.com. Rated with the Better Business Bureau nationwide. He works and he does complimentary consultations. I got to go back over here because I want you to give an example of how protecting a brand or an intellectual property can directly impact the value or success of a business.
Again, I like to use the analogy of real estate. You know, we call most of the work that I do is called intellectual property. And the word property is not there by accident, because it is representative of an asset, of a business asset. Your brand, your own brand, Carol, is an asset.
You better believe it.
So if someone creates another show and starts using your name for that show, that is unfair, because they're taking all the goodwill that you've built over the years, the reputation. It's going to cause confusion amongst listeners, thinking that you've either endorsed that show or that it is you on that other show. So that is stealing that value that you have built over the years. The same applies to any other brand. When you use or you deliberately try to confuse consumers by using names that are so close to one another, that is not right. That's stealing property, that's stealing value from your business. That's where being proactive in protecting your brand, your innovation, your trade secrets, as we said earlier, is a value proposition. It's an asset protection move, not just a legal move. It's a business move.
So again, if you have a business, whether you're one person and a solopreneur, or if you are a large corporation, you deserve to have legal representation, and to have somebody as a fractional counselor, I think is a great idea that you offer, because to me, there's a lot of, they may not need it all the time, on an ongoing basis.
Right.
I would hope not.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, a lot of times what we talked about earlier is that most people wait till it's too late.
Yeah.
And meaning that it's not, you can call you, let's put it this way, you can call you and talk to you if something happens, God forbid.
Yeah.
But it's better if you take care of all of those things that could come into effect beforehand.
Yeah. Take care of your affairs. You know, again, God forbid, you don't want to wait until someone is hurt to think about your will or your estate planning. The same with your business. You don't want to wait until your business is hurt to start thinking, how could I have protected that business before it got hurt? So you want to be proactive. And it's very easy to be proactive. It is so much more difficult to be reactive once problems start showing up.
So how do you guide your clients through litigation while keeping their broader business goals in mind?
You know, another unconventional attorney approach, it is probably common knowledge in the legal field that attorneys care a lot about billable hours. And if you work in a big firm, billable hours are almost a must for every attorney. They have a quota they need to meet. And that is their business model. I'm not criticizing that. But what happens on the client side is they are on the receiving end of these bills. As a litigator and as an attorney, I am so mindful of my client receiving that bill. I want to make sure that every penny they pay is a penny worth a lot of value in legal services, in protection, in being proactive, in being strategic, in being very mindful about how my work is adding value to their business. And because I can truly say I can put myself in their shoes, as a business owner, as a business operator, I've been on receiving ends of these bills many, many times over 20-some years. So I know what it means when you receive a legal bill and you do not feel that you've gotten not just the value from it, but even additional value from it. So I'm very mindful of that.
Well, that's nice, because I don't think a lot of them are. But we don't know about that. I mean, you never know, but I think I've never heard anybody say it.
And perhaps because not many attorneys have been on receiving end of legal bills, because they've not perhaps ran businesses themselves to be in the business owner's shoes.
Sure. Well, he has been in your shoes, and he's not only here to talk to you about, most importantly, I'll say it this way, is that you need to protect yourself, right?
Right.
You need to know, what in this business do I have here right now that could get myself in trouble, right?
Yes.
Or somebody can come to me for something that I need protected,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So, and it could be as little as you said, as even somebody's, let's say, their logo,
Yeah.
right? Somebody could copy, like you said, a logo. It could be even, well, I know for here in our world, we have a certain amount that we can use, like music. A lot of people will ask that.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be getting into the entertainment industry
Right.
part. You're gonna be adding that. Let's talk about what you're planning on doing with
Yeah.
that.
Music is fascinating to me. One, growing up, I had a mom who instilled the love of music in us from the moment we could open our eyes. And so music is so sacred to me. And what I find, a lot of musicians nowadays are not only up against protecting their lyrics and compositions and so on, but there's a vast complexity that comes with the copyright of music. You have so many layers of copyright protection that could be owned by various people. And for a musician, especially not the Taylor Swift kinds, they need to understand these complexities. AI now has added another layer of complexity, because people can just invent lyrics in a split second through using AI and use it instead of having a musician come and compose and write lyrics. Now, who owns the rights to this computer-generated lyrics? The truth is, no one. No one owns these rights. And some musicians are using AI to generate lyrics thinking that they own these rights, but they do not.
I'll tell you something, it's pretty interesting. You can go on and on and on. The main thing, you gotta protect yourself. He's
Yeah.
rated with the Better Business Bureau. He works nationwide. He does complimentary consultations. You can call him at 480-570-8558. It's PLATZ, PLATZ, Juris is JURIS.com. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. You know how you can go more narrow and deep and kind of like maybe have